Okay, welcome back. We are on 2.3 in geometry. We are now going to apply all those different types of transformation rules that you see at the top of your notes on the second page. So this one says describe the transformation. So we're going to break down each piece of this, and I hope you can see the colors. But the 3 here, the 3 in this problem represents a dilation. So if it's 3x, we're going to say that I'm just going to put a 3 there. That means there is horizontal stretch, because when you multiply by a number, that's a stretch or shrink. And then we have this second part here that says y minus 6. So I'm going to say the y minus 6 represents going left. No, sorry, it does not. Y is up and down. So y being y minus 6 is going to go down 6. Okay? So this one has a few more on question 8 here. We have a negative sign. And if you look up at the top of your page, if there is a negative sign means a reflection. And so if you have a negative or opposite with an x, that is called the horizontal reflection. Another way it states it at the top of your page, a horizontal reflection is the same as reflecting over the y-axis because it changes the x value. Then you see this number 2. The number 2 here implies something's being multiplied. So we have a dilation. It's going to be a horizontal stretch because it's 2 times as big. Okay, and the last part we have over here is this y plus 5. So that would represent up 5. Alright, so you kind of have to break these things up into individual parts, and you want to read it like a sentence. Meaning you start at the beginning over here and you work your way this direction, okay? So like I read a sentence left to right, you want to write these from left to right on what you see, okay? So I first saw a negative sign. That meant horizontal reflection. I next saw the number 2. 2 times x is a stretch. 2x, okay? And then I saw up 5 because it was y plus 5. So as I'm reading this mathematical rule from left to right, these are the order of the things that I would say. 1, 2, 3. Alright, now we're going to use these rules that are given to find the new image or coordinates. Given the mapping rule, simply plug in the value of x. So, to find the new image, you're going to plug each x value in for x and each y value in for y. So looking at this one at the bottom of your page, we have, go back on this, it says we have a is 4, negative 2, and remember this is x and this is y, and we're going to plug them into the formula. So 3x plus 2. So we're going to do 3 times 4 plus 2, comma, and I'm using this right here. And then negative y plus 8. So negative, and we're plugging in a negative 2, makes this become positive 2 plus 8. So the new ordered pair for A is 14, 10. And you just do that for each one. Now you take the next point, B. So our B term was 6, 3. And we're going to do 3 times 6 plus 2. And then negative 3 plus 8. So the B comes out to, that's 18 plus 2, we have 20 and 5. Okay, the last one, I'll let you do that one on your own if you want to go ahead and check it. The last C value comes out to 26, 9. It says what types of transformations. So looking back at the top of your page, if you'll look at those real quick for me. Okay, so what type of transformations that you see is we take this apart again. So 3 times x, the 3, oh, let me write that in a darker. So the 3x represents a horizontal stretch. It's 3 times as big on the x value. Then you have the x plus 2 part. If I'm reading left to right here, the x plus 2 represents going right 2. Then you see a negative sign. The negative sign represents a vertical reflection. And then, so that's the negative sign. And then the y plus 8 would represent going up 8. Alright, let's try some more. This is our last page of notes. I would suggest, let's see if I can get to the next one. There we go. The next one, I'm going to say pause the video, try it. I will do A with you, and then I want you to try B and C. And then I'll work through example 11 there, or number 11 together, and then I'll have you try 12 on your own. So looking at number 10, it's down here, we have a new formula for this one, and we want to find the new points. So you take the original point, like -1, 3, and you plug in your x and you plug in your y to see what you get. Now some of these are going to come out as fractions, so feel free to write them as a fraction. So for instance, if I took 2/3 times -1 minus 1, so I'm plugging in for the x, and then I also need to plug it in for y, so 4 times 3. So this answer, the new a value, this is -2/3 minus 1, that's -1 2/3, comma, because this is the y value, this would be 12. So you just kind of do that for each one. You plug in the next one, the b's. We have a b term of -5, 2. So if you do 2/3 times -5 minus 1, and then the y value is just 4y, so 4 times 2. Then our new b term, and this is where it got a little complicated, just because 2/3 of -5 comes out to a little more difficult. That's 10/3, and 10/3 would be -3 1/3. So when you minus 1, that's -4 1/3. So like I said, that's a little more difficult, but a lot of you guys have that scientific calculator that can do the fractions for you. So if you need help on fractions or how to enter them in your calculator, please reach out and win time about that. Alright, the last one, like I said, I want you to try this one on your own. You're just plugging in the next ordered pair is 0, 7. That's kind of nice. A fraction times 0 is 0. So that works out as not too bad of 1. But our c term on this one comes out to -1, comma, 4 times 7 is 28. So describe what's happening. So again, I'm going to read this sentence, the math sentence from left to right. The 2/3 of x. The 2/3 x represents a horizontal shrink because it's a fraction of the size, comma, and then we have this x minus 1. If you have x minus, we're going to go left 1, okay? And the last thing we had was 4y. So the 4y represents a vertical stretch, meaning the y is 4 times as big. So you multiply the y times 4. So that's each individual part. This next example we're going to look at, this time instead of asking you to find the new points and plugging it in, we're going to work backwards. So I don't know if I can get back to the last screen. If you look down here, I didn't highlight this earlier because I wanted to talk about here. It says to find the pre-image or the original. So this is different. Instead of plugging it in like we did up here, this time if we're finding the original, you set each value, x value, equal to the expression. So you're going to have to solve to find original. Instead of plugging it in, you're going to have to set up an equation and solve to find the x or the y. Okay, so let's try it now. Looking at this picture, find the original. And you'll notice these don't have the little apostrophes next to them. So like when you're looking over here, when it says find A, that's a clue that you're finding the original, besides the fact that they bold it or make it caps in the problem. So to set these problems, you take the x value, like -2, 5. This is what you set the x problem equal. This is what you set the y problem equal to. So -1/4 x plus 2 equals -2. Again, I'm using these x values right here to set the problem equal to the x. We'll set up the equation for the y to solve would be 3y minus 7 equals 5. So taking your rule and setting it equal to it instead of plugging it in, because we need to work backwards to solve to find the original points. So if we do that on this one, you'll subtract the 2 to the other side. That gives us -4. And when you divide by a fraction, it's the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So -4 times -4 equals 16. This one, if you add 7 to the other side, that's 12. Divide, you get y equals 4. So the original A value was 16, 4. And there are times when you're going to get fractions. I think both the B and the C on this problem we get fractions, but let's go ahead and set them up. The new B value is 5, 7. So that's what I want these equations right here to equal. So -1/4 times, or 1/4 x, that's a bad x, let's erase that. -1/4 x plus 2 equals 5, because remember it's equaling the x value. So subtract -1/4 x equals 3. And when you divide by a fourth, that's the same as multiplying by 4. So, or the reciprocal. So x equals -12. Now we'll do our y's. 3y minus 7 equals 7. If you add 7 to the other side, you get 3y equals 14. This is the one when I divided by 3, I got a decimal on. And so 3 goes into 14 4 times. That would be 12 with 2 left over. So my B term I had was 12, or sorry, that was -12. Didn't see that. And then 4 2/3. Alright, we got one more set to set up the C problem. Again, take your original -1/4 x plus 2, and I'll write down the C. Looks like the C was 8, -9. So I'm going to set this x value to 8, because 8 is the x value. And I'm going to set the y problem, 3y minus 7 equal to the y value, which was -9. And you solve both of them to find your answers. If you subtract 2, you get -1/4 x equals 6. So x equals -24. So if I add 7 to the other side, you get -2. And when you divide by 3, again, we'll have a fraction. Y equals -2/3. So the new C value, or sorry, the original C value we had the new one. So this is the original C value is negative 24, comma, negative 2/3. And if you want to see if you're right, plug your answer into the formula. So just like take this and plug it into the problem and see if you come out to what they said the answer was. I mean, you can work backwards and check your work. All right, so the last one I want you to try on your own, but I didn't fill in the last part. What types of transformations took place? So we start with a negative sign, so I'm going to say that was a horizontal reflection. Then you see, I'm going to put a comma, then you see the 1/4. 1/4 means horizontal shrink. Again, reading these from left to right. Then we have x plus 2, which means it moved right 2. This one has a ton. I don't even know if we put all that on there. Then you see, maybe I'll change colors so you can see. The 3y means vertical stretch. It's 3 times as big. And comma, the next thing I saw was the y minus 7 means down 7. All right, so just to go with what we're doing, if you are finding the original, you need to put the problem equal to the x or the y, depending which one you're doing. So that would be solve for the x, you'll get the original a. If you solve for the y using the y equation here, we will get our y's. So go ahead and pause it, try these. I'm expecting you to work this one out and then we can check it together. But I am going to tell you the answers so you can go back and check. Your a should come out to negative 8, comma 2. Your b should come out to 6, 5. And your c should come out to negative 10, 8. And if I want to look at what types, I don't know why I have a ruler in here. So if you want to look at what types of transformations, so we can put that at the top. Reading from left to right, we should have horizontal reflection. You have 1/2, so I'm going to say horizontal shrink. It's half the size. Then you see the x minus 5. That means you go left 5. Then you see another negative sign. That means vertical reflection. And then you see y plus 5. So that means the y is going to go up 5. Alright, like I said, I want you to try that last one to get these coordinates that I have over here. But I just wanted to make sure we went through again. Some people really struggle with, okay, I see all this, but what does all that mean? I can do the solving, I can plug numbers in if I need to, but this is usually where people struggle, is just to be able to read that and pull out the different parts of reflections, dilations, translations to get that